Welcome to 10 Mistakes That Sabotage Relationships, written and published by Olivia Grace from Attraction Unlocked. Relationships are often the most fulfilling yet challenging aspects of our lives. They bring joy, growth, and connection, but they also require effort, patience, and a willingness to confront our own shortcomings. In this audiobook, we'll explore 10 common mistakes that can undermine even the strongest relationships and, more importantly, how to avoid them. Whether you're starting fresh or looking to strengthen an existing bond, these insights will help you create a deeper, more meaningful connection with your partner. We often enter relationships with the best intentions, but small habits, misunderstandings, or unresolved issues can quietly chip away at the foundation. Recognizing these mistakes early and addressing them proactively is the key to building a lasting and fulfilling partnership. This journey begins with self-awareness, the ability to understand your own behaviors and how they impact your relationship. It also requires proactive efforts, such as open communication, mutual respect, and a commitment to growth. Take the story of Mark and Elena, a couple married for 10 years who found themselves drifting apart. Life's demands, careers, children, and daily routines had taken over, leaving little time for connection. Arguments became frequent, and their once strong bond felt strained. They reached a breaking point but decided to seek help. Through counseling and focused effort, they realized they had fallen into patterns like neglecting communication and taking each other for granted. By addressing these mistakes and rebuilding their habits, they transformed their relationship into one filled with appreciation, understanding, and intimacy. Their story is a reminder that no relationship is beyond repair when both partners are willing to put in the work. Each chapter in this audiobook will dive into a specific mistake, offering practical advice, relatable examples, and actionable steps to overcome it. You'll learn how to navigate challenges, deepen emotional intimacy, and maintain your individuality while growing together. Whether you're navigating a new relationship, rebuilding trust after a difficult period, or simply seeking to strengthen your bond, the lessons in this audiobook are designed to empower you with the tools you need to thrive. Let's dive into the 10 mistakes that sabotage relationships, and how you can avoid them to create the love story you deserve. Chapter 1. Neglecting communication. Communication is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship. Without open and honest dialogue, even the strongest connections can falter. It's not just about talking, it's about understanding, listening, and being present. Yet, many couples fall into communication traps, such as avoiding conflict or assuming their partner knows what they're thinking. These pitfalls can lead to misunderstandings, resentment, and a gradual erosion of trust. One common mistake is avoiding difficult conversations. Many people fear conflict, believing it's better to stay silent than risk an argument. However, avoiding problems doesn't make them go away, it only causes them to fester. Over time, this silence builds walls instead of bridges. Addressing issues directly, with kindness and empathy, fosters mutual respect and prevents small problems from becoming insurmountable. Misinterpreting intentions is another major pitfall. Without clear communication, it's easy to assume the worst or project personal insecurities onto a partner's actions. A missed text reply might be interpreted as indifference, or a simple comment could be seen as criticism. These misunderstandings often spiral, creating unnecessary tension. Taking the time to clarify intentions and give the benefit of the doubt can prevent such issues. Consider the story of Jenna and Alex, a couple struggling with communication after 5 years together. Jenna often felt unheard during their conversations, while Alex felt criticized when he tried to express himself. Their dynamic created a cycle of frustration, with Jenna withdrawing and Alex becoming defensive. The breaking point came after a misunderstanding about a forgotten anniversary dinner. Jenna assumed Alex didn't care, while Alex thought Jenna hadn't reminded him because it wasn't important to her. The tension escalated until they decided to seek help. Through couples counseling, they learned the value of intentional communication. Jenna practiced expressing her feelings without blame, saying things like, "I feel unimportant when plans are forgotten," instead of, "You don't care about me." Alex worked on listening actively and reflecting her concerns back to ensure he understood. These small changes transformed their dynamic, helping them rebuild trust and connection. What can you take away from Jenna and Alex's experience? First, prioritize clarity over assumption. If you're unsure about your partner's intentions, ask rather than guess. Second, practice active listening. Show your partner that their words matter by giving them your full attention and responding thoughtfully. Third, create a safe space for dialogue by approaching conversations with empathy rather than defensiveness. Effective communication also involves timing and tone. Address sensitive topics when both of you are calm and open to listening. Avoid bringing up concerns during heated moments, as emotions can cloud judgment and escalate conflicts. Choosing your words carefully and using "I" statements, like, "I feel hurt when this happens," instead of, "You always do this," fosters understanding rather than blame. Another powerful tool is checking in regularly. Set aside time to talk about your relationship, even when things are going well. These check-ins provide an opportunity to celebrate what's working and address any issues before they grow. They also reinforce the habit of open dialogue, making it easier to navigate challenges when they arise. Lastly, remember that communication is a two-way street. It's not just about expressing yourself but also being open to your partner's perspective. Respecting their feelings and validating their experiences builds trust and deepens emotional intimacy. Neglecting communication is a common but avoidable mistake. By prioritizing openness, clarity, and empathy, you create a foundation of trust that supports every other aspect of your relationship. Let's continue exploring the patterns that can sabotage connections and how to overcome them together. Chapter 2. Taking each other for granted. In the early stages of a relationship, every moment feels special, and every gesture is noticed. But as time goes on, it's easy to slip into routines and assume your partner knows how much you care. This complacency, while often unintentional, can slowly erode the connection that initially brought you together. Taking each other for granted doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual shift that can leave both partners feeling unappreciated and disconnected. Complacency often stems from comfort. You trust that your partner will always be there, so small acts of gratitude or affection might take a backseat to the demands of daily life. But relationships, like anything worthwhile, need consistent care and attention. When appreciation fades, resentment or emotional distance can creep in, weakening the bond over time. Consider the story of James and Sophie, a couple married for 6 years. At the start of their relationship, James would surprise Sophie with her favorite flowers, and Sophie would write him heartfelt notes. But as work schedules grew hectic and their responsibilities increased, those small gestures became rare. They still loved each other but began to feel more like roommates than partners. Sophie missed feeling special, while James felt unacknowledged for his efforts around the house. One day, Sophie casually mentioned how she missed their early days of dating. The comment struck James, who realized how long it had been since he'd done something just to make her smile. Determined to make a change, he began leaving her thoughtful notes again and surprised her with her favorite coffee on stressful mornings. Inspired by his efforts, Sophie reciprocated, finding ways to show James how much she appreciated him. These small but consistent gestures reignited the connection they thought they'd lost. The lesson from James and Sophie's story is clear. Relationships thrive on intentional effort. A simple, "thank you," a compliment, or an unexpected act of kindness can have a profound impact. These moments don't need to be elaborate or expensive. What matters is the thought and care behind them. To keep the spark alive, prioritize showing appreciation in everyday ways. Verbal affirmations, like telling your partner how much you value their hard work or how beautiful they look, go a long way. Acts of service, such as taking over a chore they dislike or preparing their favorite meal, also communicate love. Physical touch, holding hands, hugging, or a kiss hello, reminds your partner of your affection. It's also important to stay curious about each other. Over time, partners can feel like they know everything about one another, but people grow and change. Asking questions, sharing dreams, and exploring new experiences together keeps the relationship dynamic and engaging. Plan regular date nights, try something new together, or simply spend quality time without distractions to reinforce your bond. Avoid falling into the trap of assuming your partner knows how much they mean to you. Even if they do, hearing it or seeing it expressed makes a world of difference. Relationships are strengthened not by grand gestures but by the small, consistent actions that remind your partner they are loved and valued. Taking each other for granted is a common mistake, but it's one that can be overcome with awareness and effort. By showing appreciation, staying curious, and prioritizing connection, you ensure that your relationship remains vibrant and fulfilling. If you're enjoying this audiobook so far, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. That means a lot to us. Now let's get back to it. Chapter 3. Unresolved Past Issues. Carrying unresolved emotional baggage into a new relationship is like trying to build a house on shaky ground. Past traumas, unhealed wounds, and lingering trust issues can seep into your current connection, creating cracks that weaken the foundation. While it's natural for past experiences to shape who we are, it's crucial to recognize when they're negatively affecting your ability to move forward with a partner. Addressing and letting go of these issues isn't just beneficial for the relationship, it's a gift to yourself. Emotional baggage often manifests in subtle ways. Overreacting to minor disagreements, struggling to trust your partner's intentions, or feeling an undercurrent of insecurity even when things seem fine. These reactions are often less about the present situation and more about unhealed wounds from the past. Without addressing these feelings, they can snowball into patterns that sabotage even the most promising relationships. Take the story of Emma, a woman who entered a new relationship after experiencing infidelity in her previous one. Although her new partner, Lucas, was patient and trustworthy, Emma found herself constantly questioning his actions. She would check his social media, feel uneasy when he mentioned female friends, and interpret innocent actions as signs of betrayal. Lucas grew frustrated, feeling punished for something he hadn't done. Their relationship hit a breaking point when Lucas confronted Emma about her lack of trust. Realizing the issue stemmed from her past, Emma sought therapy to address the betrayal she had experienced. Through counseling, she learned to differentiate between her old fears and her current reality. She practiced open communication with Lucas, expressing her feelings without accusations, and focused on building trust step by step. Over time, Emma's insecurities eased, and their relationship flourished. By confronting her unresolved issues, Emma not only healed but also created a stronger bond with Lucas. Healing from past traumas requires intentional effort. The first step is acknowledging the baggage you're carrying and how it's affecting your current relationship. Journaling, meditation, or talking to a trusted friend can help you identify patterns or triggers. Once you're aware of these issues, seeking professional help, like therapy or counseling, can provide tools to process and heal from the pain. It's also essential to practice self-compassion. Healing takes time, and it's okay to have setbacks. Remind yourself that your past doesn't define you, and that working through these challenges shows strength, not weakness. Communicate openly with your partner about what you're going through. Sharing your journey helps them understand your perspective and allows them to support you in meaningful ways. Building trust in a new relationship is another key part of the healing process. Trust isn't rebuilt overnight, it's earned through consistent actions and vulnerability. Focus on the positive experiences in your current relationship rather than fixating on past hurts. When doubts creep in, challenge them with evidence of your partner's trustworthiness. Letting go of the past doesn't mean forgetting, it means no longer allowing it to control your present. By addressing unresolved issues, you create space for growth, connection, and joy in your relationship. Emma's story is a testament to the power of healing. She transformed her life and her relationship by confronting her fears and choosing to trust again. Unresolved past issues don't have to dictate your future. By taking steps to heal, communicate, and build trust, you can break free from old patterns and create a relationship that's rooted in love, understanding, and mutual respect. Let's continue exploring the mistakes that challenge relationships and how to overcome them. Chapter 4. Failing to set healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries are the framework of a strong, respectful, and thriving relationship. They create a balance between individuality and togetherness, ensuring both partners feel valued and secure. Yet, many relationships falter because boundaries are either ignored, misunderstood, or never clearly established. Without boundaries, resentment can build, personal growth can stagnate, and the relationship can feel suffocating or one-sided. Boundaries aren't walls meant to keep your partner at arm's length. They're guidelines that foster mutual understanding and respect. They allow each person to maintain their identity while building a life together. Whether it's about personal space, communication styles, or how you spend your time, boundaries help both partners feel heard and respected. Take the story of Adam and Lily, a couple who struggled with boundaries early in their relationship. Adam loved spending time together and often wanted Lily to join him for all his hobbies, from basketball games to late-night gaming sessions. While Lily enjoyed their time together, she also valued her weekly yoga classes and quiet evenings reading. At first, she hesitated to express her needs, fearing it would upset Adam or make her seem uninterested. But as she sacrificed more of her alone time, she began to feel drained and distant. The tension came to a head when Lily skipped an important yoga retreat to attend one of Adam's events, only to feel unappreciated and frustrated. She realized she needed to have an honest conversation about her needs. When she finally expressed her feelings, Adam was surprised but receptive. He admitted he hadn't realized how much she had been compromising and assured her he wanted her to feel happy and fulfilled. Together, they worked on finding a balance. Adam supported Lily's need for independence, and Lily made an effort to join Adam for activities they both enjoyed. Their experience highlights an essential truth. Setting boundaries doesn't create conflict, it prevents it. When both partners clearly express their needs and agree on mutual respect, it strengthens the relationship rather than weakening it. To establish healthy boundaries, start by understanding your own needs. Reflect on what makes you feel respected, supported, and secure in a relationship. This might include alone time, clarity in communication, or even limits on how often certain topics are discussed. Once you've identified your boundaries, communicate them to your partner with openness and empathy. Use I statements, such as, "I feel more balanced when I have time to recharge on my own," instead of framing it as something your partner is doing wrong. Respecting your partner's boundaries is equally important. Pay attention to their needs, even if they differ from yours, and approach conversations with curiosity rather than defensiveness. For example, if your partner asks for space during a disagreement, resist the urge to push for immediate resolution. Instead, trust that their request is about preserving the relationship, not rejecting you. Maintaining boundaries requires ongoing communication and flexibility. Life circumstances change, and so do individual needs. Check in regularly with your partner to ensure both of you feel comfortable and respected. If a boundary starts to feel rigid or unclear, revisit the conversation to adapt and realign. It's also essential to recognize the difference between healthy boundaries and control. Boundaries are about expressing your needs, while control imposes restrictions on your partner. For instance, setting a boundary might mean asking for uninterrupted time to focus on work, while control might look like forbidding your partner from making plans without consulting you. The former fosters respect, while the latter creates resentment. Adam and Lily's story demonstrates how boundaries promote mutual growth. By respecting each other's individuality, they found ways to support their personal needs while deepening their connection. Their relationship became a space where both felt valued, empowered, and free to be themselves. Failing to set healthy boundaries can lead to misunderstandings, frustration, and emotional distance, but it's never too late to make a change. By approaching boundaries as a tool for connection rather than division, you can create a relationship built on respect, trust, and shared understanding. Let's continue exploring the patterns that challenge relationships and how to overcome them. Chapter 5. Ignoring red flags. Red flags are the early warning signs that something in a relationship might not be right. They can be subtle, often dismissed as minor quirks or temporary behaviors, but when ignored, they have the potential to grow into significant problems. Overlooking these signs can lead to heartbreak, frustration, or even long-term emotional harm. Recognizing and addressing red flags early is crucial to building a healthy, fulfilling relationship. Ignoring red flags often happens because of the excitement and optimism that come with new relationships. You might convince yourself that things will improve or that you're overthinking small issues. However, red flags serve as signals that something needs attention, whether it's a misalignment of values, unhealthy behaviors, or a lack of respect. Addressing them doesn't mean ending the relationship immediately. It means seeking clarity and ensuring you're on the same page. Consider the story of Vanessa, who started dating a man named Kyle. At first, Kyle seemed charming and attentive. However, Vanessa noticed small behaviors that made her uneasy. He often dismissed her opinions during conversations, downplayed her achievements, and made lighthearted jokes that felt more like subtle criticisms. Vanessa brushed off her discomfort, telling herself Kyle's sense of humor was just different from hers. Over time, these small behaviors escalated. Kyle became more controlling, frequently questioning her whereabouts and getting defensive whenever she expressed concerns. Vanessa found herself feeling increasingly insecure and unsure of her own worth. It wasn't until she confided in a close friend that she realized these red flags had been present from the start. Encouraged by her friend, Vanessa ended the relationship and began reflecting on why she had ignored those early signs. Vanessa's story highlights the importance of listening to your instincts. Red flags often evoke a gut feeling that something is off, even if you can't immediately pinpoint why. Trusting that intuition and addressing concerns early can save you from deeper problems later. Subtle red flags can take many forms, and recognizing them requires both self-awareness and observation. Some common examples include a partner who consistently dismisses your feelings, avoids accountability, or exhibits controlling behaviors. Others might include a lack of transparency, frequent criticism disguised as jokes, or a tendency to blame others for their problems. It's important to differentiate between red flags and normal human imperfections. Everyone has flaws, and occasional mistakes don't automatically make someone a bad partner. The difference lies in patterns. A single offhand comment isn't necessarily a red flag, but repeated dismissive behavior may indicate deeper issues. Addressing red flags doesn't have to be confrontational. Start by expressing your feelings and concerns calmly. For example, if your partner often interrupts you during conversations, you could say, "I feel unheard when I'm interrupted. It's important to me that we both have space to share our thoughts." This approach invites a productive discussion rather than escalating tension. However, if the behavior persists or your concerns are dismissed, it's essential to reevaluate the relationship. Healthy relationships are built on respect, trust, and mutual effort. If those foundations are compromised, it may be time to consider whether the partnership aligns with your needs and values. Setting boundaries is another effective way to address red flags. For instance, if your partner's teasing feels hurtful, let them know what's acceptable and what isn't. Clear communication about your limits establishes respect and ensures your comfort is prioritized. Learning to recognize red flags also involves reflecting on your own patterns. Are you more likely to excuse certain behaviors because of past experiences or fears of being alone? Understanding your triggers and vulnerabilities helps you approach relationships with greater clarity and confidence. Vanessa's experience taught her the importance of listening to her instincts and prioritizing her well-being. She realized that addressing red flags early isn't about judgment. It's about protecting your emotional health and ensuring the relationship aligns with your values. Ignoring red flags may feel easier in the moment, but the consequences often outweigh the temporary discomfort of addressing them. By staying attuned to your feelings, communicating openly, and trusting your intuition, you can navigate relationships with confidence and create the foundation for genuine, lasting connection. Let's continue exploring the mistakes that challenge relationships and how to overcome them. Chapter 6. Prioritizing work over the relationship. In today's fast-paced world, the demands of work and personal ambition can often take precedence over relationships. While pursuing career goals is essential, the danger lies in allowing those priorities to overshadow quality time with your partner. Neglecting your relationship in favor of external obligations can create emotional distance, weaken communication, and leave your partner feeling unimportant. Striking the right balance between personal and professional priorities is crucial to maintaining a strong and fulfilling connection. It's easy to fall into this trap without realizing it. You tell yourself you're working late to provide for the future or taking on extra responsibilities to achieve a long-held goal. While these reasons are valid, they don't negate the need for nurturing your relationship. Relationships thrive on connection, and when that connection is consistently postponed, it can lead to feelings of neglect or resentment. Consider the story of Ethan and Maya, a couple whose relationship was strained by Ethan's work schedule. Ethan had recently been promoted to a demanding role, and his days were filled with meetings, deadlines, and late-night emails. Maya, while supportive of his ambitions, began to feel like an afterthought. Dinner plans were frequently cancelled, and their conversations became brief and transactional. Over time, Maya grew distant, unsure if she could continue feeling like a second priority. Ethan only realized the impact of his actions when Maya finally voiced her frustrations. She told him how lonely she felt and how much she missed the time they used to spend together. Shocked by her words, Ethan reflected on his choices. He recognized that he had been using work as an excuse to avoid addressing deeper issues in their relationship and his own fear of vulnerability. Determined to make a change, Ethan began setting clear boundaries between work and personal life. He turned off his phone during dinner, scheduled regular date nights, and made a conscious effort to be fully present when they were together. Their relationship didn't improve overnight, but the small, consistent efforts Ethan made showed Maya that she mattered. They rediscovered their connection, not by grand gestures but by prioritizing each other in the everyday moments. Finding balance requires intentionality and open communication. Start by assessing your current priorities and how much time and energy you dedicate to your relationship. If work consistently takes precedence, ask yourself why. Are you afraid of slowing down? Do you feel pressured to achieve a certain level of success before focusing on your personal life? Understanding the root cause of this imbalance is the first step toward addressing it. Once you've identified the issue, involve your partner in the conversation. Share your challenges and goals, but also listen to their perspective. Ask what they need to feel valued and supported, and work together to create a plan that honors both your ambitions and your relationship. Transparency and collaboration build trust and ensure neither partner feels overlooked. Setting boundaries is essential. Define clear work hours and commit to unplugging during personal time. This might mean turning off notifications during meals, avoiding checking emails on weekends, or designating certain evenings as work-free. Protecting these moments creates space for connection and reinforces your partner's importance in your life. Scheduling regular quality time is another powerful strategy. Whether it's a weekly date night, a weekend getaway, or simply a walk after dinner, these moments remind both of you why you chose each other. Quality time doesn't have to be elaborate, it's about being fully present and engaged, showing your partner they have your attention and your heart. It's also important to recognize that balance isn't static. There will be periods when work demands more of your time and energy, and that's okay. As long as you communicate with your partner and make an effort to reconnect when the workload eases. Small gestures, like sending a thoughtful text during a busy day or planning something special for the weekend, show your partner that they're always on your mind. Finally, don't forget to take care of yourself. Burnout doesn't just harm your work performance, it also affects your ability to show up emotionally in your relationship. Prioritize rest, self-care, and activities that recharge you so that you can bring your best self to both your career and your partnership. Ethan and Maya's story is a reminder that balance is possible with effort and intention. By setting boundaries, prioritizing quality time, and communicating openly, you can honor your professional ambitions without sacrificing the love and connection that make life meaningful. Let's continue exploring the patterns that challenge relationships and how to overcome them. Chapter 7. Lack of emotional intimacy. Emotional intimacy is the heartbeat of a strong and enduring relationship. It goes beyond physical connection or shared interests. It's about vulnerability, trust, and a deep sense of closeness that allows both partners to feel seen and understood. When emotional intimacy fades, relationships can feel hollow, leading to distance and disconnection. Rebuilding that bond requires intentional effort and a willingness to open up. Vulnerability plays a key role in fostering emotional intimacy. It's not easy to expose your fears, dreams, or insecurities, but doing so creates a bridge of trust that strengthens your connection. Many people hesitate to be vulnerable, fearing rejection or judgment. However, withholding emotions often leads to misunderstandings or unmet needs, which can weaken the relationship over time. Consider the story of Clara and Jason, a couple married for 8 years who found themselves emotionally distant. At the start of their relationship, they spent hours talking about their dreams and worries. Over time, those conversations dwindled, replaced by discussions of schedules, bills, and surface-level topics. Both felt the gap growing but didn't know how to address it. Clara feared burdening Jason with her feelings, while Jason assumed Clara was uninterested in deeper discussions. The turning point came during an argument about something trivial. Clara, overwhelmed by frustration, broke down and admitted how disconnected she felt. Her vulnerability caught Jason off guard, but it also opened the door for him to share his own feelings of inadequacy in meeting her emotional needs. That night, they had their first honest conversation in years, acknowledging the fears and assumptions that had kept them apart. From then on, Clara and Jason made a habit of checking in with each other emotionally. They set aside time each week to talk about more than just logistics, sharing their highs, lows, and everything in between. Over time, their bond grew stronger as they rediscovered the emotional intimacy they had lost. What can you learn from Clara and Jason's story? First, emotional intimacy requires creating a safe space for vulnerability. Let your partner know that their feelings are valued and that there's no judgment or criticism. Practice active listening. When your partner shares something, give them your full attention, reflect on what they've said, and respond with empathy. Second, don't wait for the right moment to connect emotionally. Everyday interactions are opportunities to deepen your bond. Simple questions like, "How are you really feeling?" or "What's been on your mind lately?" can spark meaningful conversations. Physical touch also plays a role in emotional intimacy. Holding hands, hugging, or even sitting close during a conversation reinforces connection. These gestures create a sense of safety and affection, making it easier to open up emotionally. Another way to build emotional intimacy is by sharing experiences that foster connection. This might include trying a new hobby together, taking a weekend trip, or even reflecting on past memories. These moments strengthen your bond and create new shared stories that bring you closer. However, it's important to recognize that deepening emotional intimacy takes time. Be patient with yourself and your partner, especially if past experiences have made vulnerability challenging. Small steps, like expressing gratitude or sharing a personal thought, can pave the way for deeper trust. Clara and Jason's journey shows that emotional intimacy isn't lost forever. It can be rebuilt with effort and intentionality. By prioritizing honest conversations, active listening, and shared experiences, you can create a relationship where both partners feel deeply connected and understood. Let's continue exploring the patterns that challenge relationships and how to overcome them. If you're enjoying this audiobook so far, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. That means a lot to us. Now let's get back to it. Chapter 8. Unrealistic Expectations. Unrealistic expectations are like invisible weights placed on a relationship, creating pressure that neither partner can sustain. Idealizing your partner or the relationship itself often leads to disappointment because the reality rarely matches the fantasy. When you expect perfection, you set yourself up to feel let down by even the most minor flaws or missteps. Embracing imperfections and managing expectations is not only healthier but also allows love to grow authentically. It's natural to have hopes for a relationship, but unrealistic expectations often stem from cultural influences, past experiences, or personal insecurities. Perhaps you've envisioned a partner who always knows the perfect thing to say, never makes mistakes, or magically aligns with your every desire. While it's wonderful to have standards, holding your partner to an impossible ideal creates a dynamic where their efforts feel inadequate, no matter how much they try. Consider the story of Rachel and David, a couple who started out madly in love but soon found themselves frustrated by unmet expectations. Rachel imagined a relationship filled with constant romance, candlelit dinners, surprise trips, and thoughtful gestures. When David's quieter nature didn't align with this vision, Rachel began to feel like he didn't care enough. David, on the other hand, expected Rachel to always be easygoing and cheerful, struggling when she expressed stress or frustration. Both felt unappreciated because their expectations overshadowed their partner's genuine efforts. Their turning point came during a heart-to-heart conversation where they shared how they were feeling. Rachel admitted she sometimes overlooked David's subtle ways of showing love, like fixing her car or making her coffee every morning. David realized he needed to support Rachel emotionally, even when her feelings were difficult for him to navigate. Together, they redefined what perfection meant, not as an absence of flaws but as a commitment to understanding and supporting each other. Their relationship flourished once they stopped expecting their partner to fulfill an idealized role and started appreciating who they truly were. They learned that love isn't about fitting into a mold, it's about celebrating the real, imperfect person standing in front of you. To manage expectations in your own relationship, start by identifying where they come from. Reflect on whether your ideas about love are shaped by unrealistic portrayals in movies or past experiences that left unresolved emotions. Ask yourself whether your expectations are fair or achievable, and whether they account for the fact that your partner is human, just like you. Clear communication is also key. Often, unmet expectations arise because one partner assumes the other knows what they want. Instead of hoping your partner will read your mind, express your needs openly. For example, if quality time is important to you, let your partner know that you'd like to schedule regular date nights. When expectations are shared, they become opportunities for growth rather than sources of frustration. Another important step is to focus on the positives. No one is perfect, but everyone has qualities worth appreciating. If you find yourself dwelling on your partner's flaws, make a conscious effort to balance those thoughts by reflecting on their strengths. Gratitude shifts the focus from what's missing to what's present, allowing you to see your partner in a more compassionate light. It's equally important to be gentle with yourself. Unrealistic expectations don't just apply to your partner, they can also manifest as pressure to be the perfect partner yourself. Accepting your own imperfections creates space for vulnerability and authentic connection. When you show up as your true self, you encourage your partner to do the same. Rachel and David's story is a powerful reminder that relationships thrive when perfection is redefined. Rather than striving for an unattainable ideal, focus on building a partnership that values effort, understanding, and growth. By managing expectations and embracing imperfections, you create a foundation where love can flourish. Let's continue exploring the patterns that challenge relationships and how to overcome them. Chapter 9. Poor conflict resolution skills. Conflict is inevitable in any relationship. It's not the presence of disagreements that determines the health of a partnership, it's how those disagreements are handled. Poor conflict resolution skills can quickly escalate minor issues into major problems, leading to resentment, hurt feelings, and a breakdown of trust. If conflicts are swept under the rug or handled with anger and blame, they create emotional distance. However, when approached constructively, conflict can be an opportunity for growth, understanding, and deeper connection. Unresolved conflicts fester, growing larger in both significance and emotion. When issues are ignored or dismissed, they don't just go away, they simmer beneath the surface, affecting your behavior, your communication, and your view of the relationship. Over time, this builds up emotional walls that make it harder to trust and connect. Small irritations turn into resentments, and each new disagreement feels like a repeat of the last one. This cycle can be exhausting, leaving both partners feeling unheard and disconnected. Take the story of Julia and Eric, a couple who experienced this pattern firsthand. In the beginning of their relationship, they often had small arguments that were easily forgotten, but as time passed, they began to pile up. One disagreement about household chores turned into an argument about each other's priorities. Julia felt Eric wasn't doing his share of the cleaning, and Eric felt like Julia was overly critical. Neither of them expressed their frustrations in a healthy way. Instead, they would shut down or raise their voices, and before long, they were fighting over things that seemed trivial in hindsight. The turning point came when their argument over a weekend getaway spiraled into something much larger. It wasn't just about the trip anymore, it was about everything that had been left unsaid. They both realized they were stuck in a cycle of miscommunication, and the trust between them was weakening. After a particularly tense night, they decided to seek couples counseling. It was through this experience that they learned how to resolve conflicts with empathy and compromise. One of the first techniques Julia and Eric learned was active listening. They practiced really hearing each other out without interrupting or becoming defensive. Julia learned to express her feelings without blaming Eric, and Eric learned to listen for what was being said behind the words. Instead of focusing on winning the argument, they learned to focus on understanding each other's perspectives. This shift made all the difference in their ability to resolve issues constructively. Another strategy they adopted was taking breaks when things got heated. In the past, they would continue arguing until one person gave in, but they discovered that stepping away for a few minutes allowed them both to cool down and collect their thoughts. They would return to the conversation when they were calmer, which helped them communicate more effectively. In addition to these techniques, Julia and Eric also learned the importance of compromise. No one wins every argument, but a healthy relationship is based on both partners being willing to meet in the middle. Instead of expecting the other person to change, they started working together to find solutions that respected both of their needs. This helped build mutual respect and understanding, which in turn deepened their connection. What can we take away from Julia and Eric's experience? First, it's crucial to address conflict when it arises, rather than letting it fester. Suppressing your feelings or ignoring problems only leads to bigger issues down the line. Instead, approach conflict with a mindset of collaboration and understanding, not confrontation. Make a conscious effort to listen and validate each other's emotions, even if you don't agree with them. Second, take responsibility for your own emotions and actions. Instead of blaming your partner for how you feel, express yourself honestly and respectfully. Use I statements, like, I feel frustrated when, instead of, you always, which can make the other person feel attacked. This opens the door to a more productive conversation. Lastly, remember that conflict resolution isn't about being right, it's about finding a solution that works for both of you. Embrace the opportunity to learn from each disagreement and grow together. By approaching conflict with empathy, patience, and a willingness to compromise, you can turn challenges into opportunities to strengthen your relationship. Poor conflict resolution skills can quickly erode trust, but when handled with care and respect, disagreements can bring couples closer. Julia and Eric's story is a reminder that with the right tools and mindset, any relationship can navigate conflict and emerge stronger on the other side. Let's continue exploring the patterns that challenge relationships and how to overcome them. Chapter 10. Losing your identity in the relationship. When you're in a committed relationship, it's easy to lose sight of who you are outside of that partnership. The lines between your identity and your partner's can blur, leaving you feeling like you're defined solely by the relationship. While partnerships are about connection and growth together, it's essential to maintain your individuality. Losing yourself in a relationship can lead to resentment, burnout, or an overwhelming sense of dissatisfaction. A healthy relationship is built on two people who respect each other's identities and encourage personal growth, alongside their shared goals. Many people struggle with this dynamic, especially in long-term relationships. It's natural to want to invest in your partner's life, hobbies, and dreams, but doing so at the expense of your own can create an imbalance. Over time, you might start to feel like you've sacrificed too much, forgotten what makes you unique, or neglected your personal desires. This can lead to feelings of frustration or emotional distance. Consider the story of Lauren and Ben, who had been together for 6 years. In the beginning, their relationship felt like a perfect match. They both loved going to the same concerts, hiking together, and watching movies. However, as time passed, Lauren began to notice that her personal interests had taken a backseat. She stopped attending her pottery classes, her yoga practice grew inconsistent, and she neglected her passion for photography. Ben's hobbies and career demands took center stage, and Lauren followed along, thinking it was the right thing to do. But over time, she began to feel disconnected, not only from Ben but from herself. Lauren started resenting the fact that her dreams and passions were put on hold. She didn't want to lose her relationship, but she also realized that she had lost touch with what made her happy. After some reflection, Lauren decided to make changes. She began to prioritize her passions again, taking pottery classes, going on solo photo walks, and setting boundaries around time for herself. Slowly, Ben began to notice the positive shift in Lauren. She was more vibrant, confident, and engaged in their conversations. Rather than feeling threatened by Lauren's renewed independence, Ben respected and admired her ability to maintain her individuality. They found a balance that allowed them both to pursue their personal interests while nurturing their relationship. The key takeaway from Lauren's experience is that maintaining your individuality isn't a threat to the relationship, it's a benefit. When both partners feel free to grow, explore their passions, and express themselves fully, the relationship becomes richer and more meaningful. It's important to carve out space for yourself, whether it's pursuing hobbies, spending time with friends, or setting personal goals that matter to you. This not only improves your self-esteem but also makes you a more present and fulfilled partner. Balancing personal growth with shared goals is essential. Both partners in a relationship should have space to grow as individuals while nurturing the relationship as a team. Open communication is key to ensuring that both partners are supportive of each other's dreams and aspirations. It's important to have regular conversations about what you each need to maintain your personal identity and how you can both create time for your individual pursuits. If you find that you've already lost touch with your own passions, it's never too late to rediscover them. Start small by reintroducing activities you used to love or trying new things that excite you. Share your desires and goals with your partner, and ask for their support in finding time for your personal growth. This can strengthen the relationship and bring a new sense of fulfillment and excitement into both of your lives. When you embrace both your individuality and your shared connection, you're creating a partnership built on mutual respect and support. As Lauren's story demonstrates, rediscovering yourself within the context of a relationship can reignite your energy, creativity, and joy. You don't have to lose yourself to love someone else. Instead, a healthy relationship allows both partners to flourish as individuals while building a strong and loving bond together. Let's continue exploring the patterns that can sabotage relationships and how to overcome them. Thank you for joining me on this journey through 10 mistakes that sabotage relationships. As we've explored, relationships can be incredibly rewarding, but they also require work, understanding, and a willingness to grow. We've examined common mistakes that many of us make, often without realizing the impact they have on our connections with our partners. By addressing these mistakes and taking proactive steps to improve, you can create lasting, healthy relationships built on trust, respect, and love. From the importance of communication to recognizing the danger of taking each other for granted, every lesson we've discussed today points toward a common theme: self-awareness. Recognizing your own patterns, addressing unresolved issues, and committing to personal growth are essential in nurturing a strong connection with your partner. Whether it's setting healthy boundaries, avoiding unrealistic expectations, or learning how to navigate conflicts with empathy, each of these tools empowers you to build a better foundation for love. A major takeaway is that relationships thrive when both partners feel seen, heard, and appreciated. Neglecting emotional intimacy or failing to address red flags can undermine even the most promising connections. But when you make the conscious effort to show up fully for yourself and your partner, you create a dynamic where love can flourish and grow. It's also important to embrace imperfection. No one is perfect, and no relationship is either. The goal isn't to eliminate conflict or to create an idealized version of your partner. It's about creating a space where both of you can express yourselves honestly, support each other's growth, and work together to navigate the challenges that inevitably arise. The most important part of this journey is self-awareness and the commitment to change. Every relationship offers a unique opportunity to grow, both as an individual and as a couple. Embrace these moments as chances for learning, growth, and building deeper connections. When you are proactive in addressing the mistakes that can sabotage relationships, you set the stage for lasting love. Now, take a moment to reflect on your own relationships. Are there any patterns you've noticed in your own behavior? Are there areas where you could communicate better, set healthier boundaries, or show more appreciation? Think about the steps you can take to embrace growth and create positive change. Relationships are a mirror, reflecting the work we do on ourselves, so when you commit to being the best version of yourself, it benefits not only you but also your partner. Remember, building a lasting, fulfilling relationship takes time, effort, and consistency. It's not always easy, but the reward is worth it. So, embrace the process. Commit to being aware, to growing, and to doing the work required to build a strong, loving bond with your partner. The foundation of any great relationship is rooted in self-awareness, communication, and mutual respect. Embrace those principles, and you'll create a love that lasts. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found this audiobook valuable, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. See you on the next one.